Welcome back, folks. Government regulations are necessary for the transportation industry, but it is no easy task to regulate these P2P online platforms. The government has to ensure the healthy development of a new business while avoid killing the infantile sector through regulatory burden.
Uber is an American driver hailing app that has set up shop in China too. But it doesn't engage private cars here like it does in the U.S. That's because the Chinese government has banned unlicensed private car leasing. The big difference between Uber and the P2P platform is that when using Uber, one hires both the car and the driver, and that means the driver must be qualified. Meanwhile, P2P customers only rent cars and not any drivers through such companies as HED and Baojia. That doesn't mean the government has given the green light to the P2P platforms, however. The Beijing Municipal Commission of Transport released a notice last August stating that the existing regulations concerning car rentals forbid the use of private or unauthorized vehicles by commercial companies. So, are P2P car rental platforms even legal? Regulators have not stipulated whether the P2P platforms are car rental businesses, but Shanghai attorney Shen Chen thinks the companies are safe for now.
For the moment, a natural person leasing his car out to others does not involve any legal problems. As long as the P2P platforms themselves don't lease the vehicles out to the car renters, they are not considered doing anything illegal. They would simply be conducting brokerage activities. These activities are similar to those carried out by real estate agents.
However, Shen says regulations for P2P car rental remain murky. That's good news for the market players, but it also means that they may run into problems if the policies are ever changed. That risk is smaller for companies such as Ehai because it can always fall back on its traditional car rental business if need be. The P2P platforms may have to worry about policy risks down the road, but they have more urgent problems to deal with now, such as personal credit issues. There have been reports that some rented cars have not been handed back. That includes a case in early 2015 where the renter did not return an imported Audi obtained from one of the car-sharing platforms, and instead mortgaged it in a swindle that was not covered by insurance. The case is still being investigated.
Well, you imagine two strangers try to, make a deal in the parking lot. In China, I think is very challenging. There's already a distrust, among the strangers in China, and hand over a car to another stranger is always creates some kind of uncertainty and anxiety for the auto owners. Likewise for the car renter.
However, as the agents for the car rentals, the P2P platforms have the legal obligation to verify the identities of the car owners and renters and can be held liable if any trouble occurs.
If an owner's car is proceeded to sale, mortgage, or pledge, and the car-sharing platform is not able to provide information about the car renter, or the information it collected is false, then the car owner can hold the platform responsible for damages, relying on a brokerage contract he has with the platform.
The P2P platforms are doing what they can to minimize the risks. At HED, for example, a car owner is required to provide his ID card, driver's license, and insurance receipt. At the same time, all renters must furnish their ID card and driver's license. That information is then verified with the police before any transaction is finalized. Baojia also employs similar methods and engages WeCash, China's first internet credit evaluation company, to assess the reliability of its customers. In addition, Baojia shares its blacklist of untrustworthy renters with other P2P platforms.
At the two political sessions in 2015, Baojia submitted a proposal through the China Zhigong Party, expressing some shared thoughts of the industry players. We hope the government can open up the personal credit system to those P2P car rental businesses so that we can better protect interests of the users through a national system.
HED says it's looking forward to the release of comprehensive regulations that standardize the P2P market. Zhang believes that once all of the security procedures are in place, car sharing can become a good business for everyone involved.
So, Professor Jia, policy uncertainties and ambiguities seems to be the biggest challenge to the P2P industry because this industry is largely unregulated right now. If the government comes in tomorrow and saying, you know what, we don't like this, too much risks, you're out, then they have nowhere to go. So what can they do to sort of navigate this kind of risk?
Right. Well, I share your concern, Tracy, but I think overall speaking, the Chinese government is issuing a number of new federal policies to support the growth of internet companies. So if you remember, back in March, Premier Li Keqiang actually reviewed a so-called Internet Plus policy that tries to integrate mobile internet, cloud computing, and big data into manufacturing and business, and also to encourage a healthy development of the e-commerce. But again, of course, as you mentioned, because this market is just emerging, it's largely unregulated before, so now the government is trying to come in and say, well, let's set up some rules
and regulations.
for this sector. Of course, there will be ambiguities or uncertainties. This is normal and well expected. So I think for AT Zuche, one of the things the company can do is just to closely monitor the policy change, right? Stay alert of the potential policy changes and also be proactive about it. Another thing the company can do is actually to diversify its business line a little bit and also keep some flexibility in its business models. So in case there is a policy change, the company can change accordingly very fast.
Hedge that risk as well.
That's right. Yes.
So, Professor Jia, I guess one of the biggest disadvantage that a P2P model has is that you don't have an offline site. So trusting is really, really important. I don't have a human face to talk to. But can the company or the platform do some standardization to help customers trust the company?
These companies have already taken a number of measures to increase the safety standards for the vehicles that they rent out. For example, they require ID verification, right? So as we talked about before, you can rent out a car, you need to submit
driver's
your
license and ID,
right? Exactly, onto their information platform. And also, these companies now install GPS in the cars.
So they can track where you're going, right?
Exactly, and sometimes from what I've heard, they actually install multiple GPS in different places in the car. In case that the car actually gets stolen, the thieves won't be able to find all the GPS all at once.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, it's a good idea, but it's very costly though.
That's right.
An alternative way, the method is to build some sort of eBay kind of rating system or review system, right? Once you have enough user information and the historical driving records or rental records, then you can actually build up this review system.
So the car owners can review the renters to see whether they damaged their car, whether they paid on time, and etc.
Right, and the other way around too.
Oh, that's right.
Right, and another way is for the company to work with closely with the local police stations. So in case the car actually gets stolen, they can report it to the police, and the police will help the company to track down the stolen vehicle. And an alternative measure would be also insurance coverage. So they need to work very closely with the insurance company to come up with a reasonable coverage in case a car gets stolen. So these are some of the measures the P2P companies can take to hedge against this kind of risk.
And speaking of government regulations, we talked about Baojia's CEO actually submitted a proposal at the political sessions asking the government to actually come in and regulate the P2P market. But this is not an easy thing to do on the part of the government because you don't want to destroy the industry. You want industry to grow, but you have to regulate it. But what kind of policies are needed here and what are not favorable to the industry?
My suggestion is the government should try to stay away from the business aspect of this particular sector. Government should play a active role in terms of monitoring the market. It's like a watchdog and make sure this market does not breach any legal bottom lines.
Nobody abuses anything.
Exactly. For example, one of the major challenges for facing P2P company is car safety, vehicle safety. So I think this is where government can come in. They can urge the local police bureaus to work closely with these P2P companies to ensure the car doesn't get stolen, or even if it does, they can find the car very quickly.
Make sure all the information they list online are actually true.
That's right. Yeah, I think it would be nice to see the government apparatus and the commercial entities can play together and create some positive synergies.
That's definitely the case here.
Yeah.
So I see in this case, government can actually play a very positive role to help the industry grow.
That's right.
Well, thank you very much for all your ideas, Professor Jia, and thank you for your participation for today's show.
Thanks for having me.
Well, folks, the internet has connected people worldwide like never before, hence triggering the talk of a sharing economy. The peer-to-peer business model has proven to be very successful, but the future of the P2P industry is still plagued by regulatory hurdles. While the new sector has catered to the demands of many consumers and made our lives much easier, the development of companies like AT Zuche is not without obstacles. Thanks for watching this episode, folks. Before I go, just a reminder that you can follow us on Weibo, WeChat, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter to share your thoughts. And if you do have an interesting business case to tell, make sure to email us at newmoney@cctv.com. Thank you very much for joining us today, and we'll see you again next week.